Hey, everybody. I'm Nathan Warnock.
I'm Andrea Warnock.
And you have reached us for Sunday Night Live. This is a show that we do every Sunday night. It is a live show. So as you're watching this, if you're watching it right now at 8:30 Central on a Sunday, you have caught us live. And so what we do is we'll generally talk about maybe something that has struck us this week as we've read the news or just gone about our lives during the week, and maybe something that's challenged us or that we'd love to pass on to the Marriage by Design community. And then we typically will have a Q&A time where generally we come prepared with one or two questions, marriage and family related, that will bounce past each other for your benefit. And
Unless you have something you want to bring up, then we'll go with that.
Right. That's always the wild card. As you're watching this, if you have questions, comments, thoughts about anything that we've covered on this channel or just marriage and family related questions, please feel free to put those in. We always will address them on the show.
Yeah.
And also after. So if you watch this on replay, or I generally try to post this up on our podcasting sites by about Wednesday, then certainly you can pop over to our Facebook page and post those questions up there as well, and we'll answer them as we see them.
Yep.
All right, babe. How's the week? So we didn't do anything last week for Marriage by Design, but how have the last couple of weeks been for you?
Pretty good. Just doing our normal thing.
You're very pregnant.
I am very pregnant. Yes, we're due to have a baby very soon.
Yeah, that's going to culminate in you not being very pregnant here pretty soon. So that'll be fun.
That's exciting, but
yeah, then maybe we'll have a little show and tell here on the show.
We probably will, because we started this channel like a couple months after Lincoln was born.
That's right.
And he had to make several appearances because he just wouldn't sleep or whatever that was. I remember
it was eating time.
Yeah, I remember trying to balance taping, which we do at night, with the newborn stage was sometimes frustrating, but it was like, oh, well, whatever. Who cares if I'm holding a baby?
Right.
No one cares. So,
right. Yeah.
So I'm sure this child will make an appearance too. We're excited.
Yeah.
Look,
for sure.
I'm nervous. I mean, 5 is a lot of kids, and but we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We always do.
No, you're a rock star. It'll be great, and can't wait to see them. We don't know, for those of you who don't know how we handle babies, we don't find out the gender or anything prior to the birth. So I'm excited to have that big reveal. And you've said this before, and you're right. There are very few things in life that are true surprises anymore, and at least for us, that's certainly one of them.
Fun
so
one.
Yeah. For sure. Hey, as you check into the program, love to have you put a comment down in the comments below, whether you're over on YouTube or on Facebook. We have surpassed 100 subscribers now on YouTube, and it took us a bit over a year and a couple of months. So thank you guys to everyone who has subscribed over on YouTube. And now it's definitely picked up some steam. So it took us a year to get to 100, and then we've had 12 people subscribe in like the last 3 weeks. So appreciate you guys getting the love out on YouTube. If you just listen to this on podcast, that's excellent too. Thank you for doing that. Love to have you get over to our Facebook page and leave your comments and be part of the community. And, our real hope with this channel is not just that we can provide God-honoring content to encourage you in your marriage and in your family life, but also hopefully, I know there's a lot of champions for marriage on this channel and that watch this channel, and it's always been our desire that we can help carry the burden with the couples that you're mentoring and discipling and standing in the gap for, who are dealing with maybe not crisis, but maybe just some rough edges in their marriage. And, it's difficult. I know for us as I don't know if young family is the right term anymore, but youngish family,
young kids,
sure. and a lot of others who we know that have a young family, that it's difficult to find capacity in the schedule to meet with a couple maybe as much as they'd like. And so I hope some of the content that we have put out is a blessing to you. We've heard some stories of people that pass our episodes around to couples in their Bible studies or whatever to kind of, give them some godly perspective in their marriage, and would love to encourage that. That's really a core reason of why we're doing this. So appreciate that. And we are working on finding a way to better categorize everything, and so it's easier to search and find, because we now have well over 200 videos.
Man, that's crazy.
At this point, over 300 videos
Cool.
at this point. So anyway, love to have you guys take a look at that. Speaking of, if there's anything you ever want us to address on this program, or maybe you're not sure if we've addressed it in the past, love to have you leave a comment right now during this show, or of course you can always pop over to our Facebook page and leave a comment there, or send an email to marriagebydesignpodcast@gmail.com. So with that lead in, this is the thing that I've been thinking about this week. So Andrea and I are preparing to have the opportunity that we're so excited about to share at a relationship event that our church is throwing. And Andrea and I are going to get the opportunity to talk about sex. And
is that a surprise to like anybody?
No, not at all. Not at all. 5 kids. So
and Nathan,
right.
I mean, he's always up for talking about that.
Right. So, but look here, and this is really my baseline when I talk about sex. We have for too long, as God-fearing people, sort of for some reason shied away from this topic. And I don't necessarily mean that we didn't address it as we found it in the Bible. When I say shy away from it, I mean that literally. Like, when you come across a passage in the Bible that deals with sex, and you're referring to it as, well, when David and Bathsheba, what they did. That's shying away from it, right? I mean, it's called sex. It involves a penis and a vagina. We're all adults. We know how this works, and yet we've shied away from it within the church for a reason that I don't understand. And the problem is, over time, it's given ground to making sex seem like a secular thing. And I really have a heart and a passion for not seeing that continue to be a thing, right? That the church would restake its ground in being the experts on sex. And I know if you're someone who has been hurt or seen sexual pain within the church, I'm sure you can tell me all about how, the church has been an expert on sex and blah, blah, and priests and boys and all that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about having a true understanding of what the Bible and God teaches about sex and standing firm in and on that. And so we're thrilled to have an opportunity to speak about that at this event. But as I've been kind of putting some notes together and thinking about this funny thought kind of struck me the other day, babe. And we're not going to talk about this probably much in our talk, but it made me laugh and I wanted your thoughts. God has, I think, a way better sense of humor than we give him credit for. I mean, right. So can we agree on one thing, that God is sovereign? Right.
Sure,
he's involved in all things. He's omnipotent. He's all powerful. Nothing's happened here by accident, which means that, guys, God could have had any way for the human race to procreate, right? We could have gone into this certain mountain that he put all over the planet, and then the woman comes out and she's pregnant. We could reproduce without needing to have sex, right? There are creatures on earth that do that. We could have, God could have just, hey, when you get to this age, you raise your 3 fingers and offer yourself as tribute, and then you're pregnant, right? I mean, there could have been any way.
Yeah.
And yet God said, no, this part is going to go in this part, and they're going to sort of do this awkward sort of stumble around, and then there's a chance that she could get pregnant doing that. And it struck me, and please understand me. I don't mean this in an irreverent way at all. I mean it in a genuine way. Like, I kind of look at that idea of sex and think it's kind of funny. Like, it's just kind of weird, right? Can you imagine like God explaining this to the angels? Because we know we're made, God made man and woman in his image, but also God's physical body is different from our body. And we know that because we're promised a different spiritual body in the Bible, right? When we pass into eternity. So I was kind of thinking about this, and I was thinking, can you imagine when God and Jesus and the Holy Spirit at creation unveiled man, and then God creates Eve, and the angels are going, sorry, they're gonna do what? What are you saying?
Who knows?
They're gonna, huh? I mean, it's just a funny thing to me. And again, I really don't mean it in an irreverent way. I mean, we take it for granted because it's just part of life, right? That's just how it works, the birds and the bees and sex and all that. But I thought, we get so, I think here's what my point was in that is we get so stoic about everything, right? Like, this is very serious and we're going to be very serious about it. And we're not laughing about it because it's not funny. It's very serious. And sometimes I think God's in heaven going, you guys got to lighten up a little bit, right? I mean, farts didn't happen by accident. Like, God made your body to work that way.
Right.
So sometimes I think maybe we don't have we think God's super serious all the time. And I think sometimes God's like, that's funny. And we can lighten up a little bit too.
Sure.
And when it comes to sex, I think that's where I'm landing on a part of that is we take that specific topic so seriously that it's no wonder why people walk around going within Christian marriages going, yeah, that's really something that we just don't. That's not really a great part of our marriage. Well, why would it be? Because we've made it within Christian communities from the time you're super little. It's a don't do this, don't do this, don't do that. You stand over there with that girl. You pretty soon you're going to be just having sex. So it's like such a serious thing. And then of course you get married, and then it's supposed to be not a serious thing anymore. And there's this confusion and frustration. And at the end of the day, we probably just need to lighten up a little bit and just simply teach what God teaches about sex, which is, hey, here's what it is. It's a serious thing in that symbolically it is a picture of the oneness that God desires to have with us in physical body, in emotional soul, and in spirit. So that's serious because it's a serious picture, but it's also fun and kind of funny and an interesting way of spouses to get to interact with each other and have fun together and have a spirit of adventure in your marriage. And those are all positive things. And when we make it such a stoic thing, I think we miss out on some of the depth that was meant to be within sex. What do you think about that?
I didn't know that was on your mind.
I know we didn't talk about this part ahead of time. So what do you think? Am I the only one? Is everyone else like, that's not weird at all? Like, that's perfectly.
I'm not sure I've ever thought about it because it just is what it is.
Yeah, I think that's how a lot of people are. But right? If you just think about the biology of it, it's kind of a funny thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not. It's God didn't necessarily intend it to be funny. But I also think God can do multiple things at once. And when we look, so we've been talking on Marriage Mondays the last several weeks about sex, and we're kind of transitioning this week from talking about sex as an act to talking about some things around sex, right? Childbearing, right? We're talking on Marriage Monday that comes out tomorrow about, is it okay for us as a couple to go, you know what? I think for the two of us, I think we're just going to focus on our careers and focus on our ministry in the church. And, we've got nieces and nephews, and we'll focus on them. And we're just kids just aren't really going to be a part of what we're doing as a couple. Is that okay or not? What does the Bible say about that? So anyway, that's why sex is kind of on my mind. Anyway, and then of course we got this relationship event coming up, which I'm really excited about. So anyway, I think that's why that was kind of on my mind.
Front and center.
Right. But for me, and this is going to sound self-serving, but the more I've studied about sex, the more I realize we just shouldn't be giving ground to the secular world with regards to sex, because it's just so hopelessly screwed up. And I don't want that. I mean, we've got couples that ought to be celebrating sex within the church. We all ought to be celebrating sex because it's such a cool thing that God did for us, and yet it becomes a pain point because we don't understand it. I mean, guys, just thinking about this anatomically, we sit and we worship about God taking things from death to life, and he makes all things new, and that's who this God is. And he created the part of our body, at least with men, that disposes of waste, of things that would be harmful for your body if they stayed in there indefinitely. And he uses that same instrument to bring new life into the world. Like, is that not like perfectly the way God would do it? Sure. Right? I mean, there wouldn't be any other way that he could do it. And for me, I'm okay celebrating that. And I'm okay teaching my kids about that, because when you realize some of these things, I think it goes away from feeling dirty. It doesn't feel dirty anymore. Even if you talk about it in depth, it doesn't feel dirty, because it's not. It's like you said, it just is what it is. But the symbolism in that is immense and important.
Yep.
Are you awkward? Are you feeling uncomfortable about this conversation?
No, I just don't have anything to say about it. I don't feel the same way you do. I don't know. I don't think about it.
I mean, you're not allowed to disagree with me on.
Right.
No. What do you mean you don't feel this? Like, you don't feel the same way, meaning it's just, you just haven't thought about it like that?
Yeah.
I'm just on first blush, does it feel like I'm wrong on any of these things?
No, I don't know what to say.
All right. Well, that's fair. I am putting you on the spot because we didn't talk about this ahead of time. I just have been thinking about this. MJ says, always having fun, but never shying away from the real topics. That's right. Probably a little, perhaps a little ADD in my topic selection, and also probably a lot long-winded, but not shying away from the real topics. That's true. That's right. All right, babe. Well, what about you? What's the Lord been doing in your life lately? I know you've got a Bible study, and you are studying. What are you studying in your Bible study these days? What book?
The book of Job.
Awesome.
Which, it's a great book. I think what I was struck with most in the last couple weeks of this Bible study is the realization and the truth that so often we are praying for the Lord to take us out of hard situations, trials. And that's not a bad thing to want or to pray for.
Yeah.
But I think more often his desire is to not take us out of those things and to rescue us from those things, but rather to walk with us in those trials, and to for us to seek him deeper in those trials and to grow and know more about him through those. But I as I look over my life and other people's lives and in the Bible, it seems like those trials are oftentimes people aren't rescued from them.
Yeah.
And so it's for me, it's like flipped my thinking about the way I pray. We're not going through a trial right now, praise the Lord. but it's flipped my thinking and my hope. I guess if it's flipped my hope. Knowing we're going to face trials of various kinds throughout our life, and I think it's just flipped the idea of, what am I hoping for in those times? Really, should my focus be on getting out of it, or really should my focus be on, God, you're coming in this with me and I need you, and I'm going to fall deeper in love with you because I'm going to realize, you're going to walk with me in this. So, and we see that with Job. I mean, God allowed these terrible things to happen to Job, and he was there with him the whole time, even though Job didn't really think God was. He didn't think God, it seemed like he didn't think God even heard him. But yet he remained faithful to the Lord, and when the trial was over, God restored Job, which was amazing. But he went through a time that was just awful, and God didn't pick him up out of that storm and plant him in, fertile ground. He had to walk through it.
Right.
So
yeah, in fact, God kind of took him to the cleaners at the end
a
of
lot.
that too.
Yeah. Right. Yep.
But yeah, that's great.
So
that's good.
So yeah.
Good. That's great, babe. Okay. Q&A time. So the question for you this particular Sunday is a question that comes in about important things to teach our kids and make sure to not miss teaching our kids at specific times in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
So specifically, if you would tell, excuse me, if you would tell a new mother, okay, from birth to 3 years old, this is the one thing you must, make sure that you convey to your children. And then the same thing for like 4 to 10. Right. What would you say are like,
I feel like that's a big ask.
Thoughts. It is a big ask.
0 to 3, the thing that I think of is just that they are abundantly loved. And, that 0 to 1, what more can you do for them but love them by providing for them and
sure,
meeting all their needs and all that. That's all they need.
Right.
But then that, setting that foundation of just, abundantly loving them in that 0 to 3. I don't know. That's what I think of, I guess.
It's good. Yeah, that's good. Just practically. I mean, that's what you're saying. Yeah. It's just practically loving them is.
Well, yeah. Do. And they, I mean, that 18 months to 3 is really hard, and lots of terrible 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 age and grading on you and all of that. But yeah, just, I don't know, continuing to love them despite their high needs and high attitudes. And I think
despite their high needs.
Oh. I don't know, just setting that foundation of love, like abundant love. That's what I think of. There's tons of other things that we need to be teaching them at 0 to 3 too, but right. That's my first thought. Okay.
How about the older kids? And I know 4 to 10 is the difference between a 4-year-old and a 10-year-old is huge.
Well, the next thought I had was teaching them that about unfailing love, like why am I not thinking of the word? Like teaching them that my love does not go away regardless of what you do.
Unconditional.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Unconditional love. And really teaching them about the Lord by our unconditional love. Yes, you're going to make me mad by the things that you do. Yes, you're going to get in trouble with the things that you do, but
Right.
my love for you never changes regardless. And I think we can teach our kids so much. There's so many practical things that we need to teach them at 4 to 11. I mean, independence and conversation skills and all that sort of thing. But what's more important than teaching them about the Lord? Of course. But the greatest way we can teach them about the Lord is putting God's skin on and loving them with an unfailing love that they know, and unconditional, that they know even when I mess up, even when I'm nasty to you, even when all these things, whatever, I know I always have the love of mom and dad that never goes away.
Right.
And that's such a great reflection of the Lord.
It's good, babe. It's good.
And we tell our kids, especially when they're in trouble, that, we'll discipline them or talk to them or whatever, and then say, I love you and I will always love you. It doesn't matter what you do. And we say that mostly when they're when they're in trouble. We say it other times too, but I just always want them to know. And at that age, that 4 to 11 age, they can really I think they can really start grasping that concept.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
It doesn't, how you perform or what you do or don't do. You could be the worst person in the world. I mean, you could do the worst atrocities, and I wouldn't support that. And I would be grieved beyond belief, but I would still love you.
Yeah. That's good.
I don't know. That was my thought.
It's good, babe. Thanks.
You have thoughts on those?
No, I thought both
of your own.
No, I thought both those were great.
All right.
Yep, really good. Thank you for sharing that, babe.
Yeah, I think there's tons of practical things, but
sure.
But there's stuff that's more important than the practical.
Right. That's good. Thanks, babe. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's 30 minutes already. If you can believe
goes
that.
by fast.
It does go by fast. So we're going to go ahead and bounce on out of here. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I feel like I've hit my mic more this tonight than I ever have. The screens.
Well, we've been trying to mess with the little location of them and all that to try to get better sound.
Yeah, silly. That reminds me. Thank you. So if you've tuned into our YouTube videos the last couple of weeks, you'll notice that there hasn't been any video for it. I'm going to try and fix that for tomorrow. The issue is now that we have 2 microphones, I'm dealing with some syncing issues between the video and the audio. So, rest assured, I have the best minds I know working on it, which is to say not mine. So hopefully that will be fixed up here pretty quick. We're going to try it a little bit differently for tomorrow morning and see if that doesn't work for us. But otherwise, we'll do the best that we can. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for bearing with us. And thanks for being here. Hope that you found something valuable to take away from it, or at least even if you sit down and go, all that sex talk was complete hogwash, tell me about it. I'd be happy to read the comment on that. But also, hopefully it makes you think a little bit and dig into the Bible and see what God says about sex and how that matters for your marriage if you are married. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate you being here. Join us for Marriage Monday coming up tomorrow morning, and then Family Friday will come out on Thursday morning. So, guys, thanks again. Have a good evening. Good rest of your weekend, and we will see you bright and early tomorrow morning for another show. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.